It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Well, today I want to continue on my series, Geopolitics and Printers. Ladies and gentlemen, we got some big issues in our industry around this subject, and we really need some of the folks in the industry to start manning up, womening up, and start talking about it. Because being a wimp, being insecure is not working. Before I get into today's episode, I want you all to imagine with me, if you will, that I'm a major in the Chinese Communist Party army, and my soldiers are responsible for getting China technology into the free world's government offices. And I'm going to look out at my soldiers and I'm going to say, man, are we having fun? And they're all going to say, yes, sir. We're having fun because in the free world, the naivety around what we're actually doing is just amazing. The insecurities in the print channel, for instance. A lot of senior leaders in that industry that are so insecure of their place in the future, they don't want to do anything to shake anything up or even ask any questions. We'll be able to put Phantom and G&G and Lexmark printers in government offices forever. And we'll be able to do whatever we want to do once we get that stuff in there. Because the Americans, for that matter, most of the free world, as long as they can buy something for $1 on Amazon cheaper, they're going to continue to do it. They won't see us as a threat. As a matter of fact, a lot of them will promote us. I mean, we'll even get some folks that will promote communism. Communism. Remember that debate I did with my friend David Gibbons? I like David Gibbons. But he's a little bit kind of delusional around the communist thing, I think we would all agree on. In the free world, anyway. But you know what I do like about David? He's not afraid to talk about things he believes in. Even though, promoting communism is not anything that anybody would be excited about here in the United States. But at least he's talking about things. Where's all my friends in our industry? Why are you not talking about this? I love the leather jacket veteran people. Where the hell are you at? This is almost absurd. We run around and we talk about the veterans and how we support the veterans, and at the same time we're allowing the Communist Chinese Party to infiltrate our tire industry, and we don't even want to talk about it. Because we might have a friend at Lexmark. We better not do that. Let me jump on the Sharp Interactive board and I want to show you the email I got from Lexmark. It was short and simple. Lexmark has been a frequent topic on your social profiles lately, so I wanted to make sure you are aware of this content on our website that provides accurate information about our company. There was 2 links, Lexmark Governance, Frequently Asked Questions. I went through this stuff and it didn't change my mind any. And, here's what I'll tell Lexmark. I appreciate the fact that you don't just run around and tell people that the guy in the basement is misled. That you actually share your thoughts on how I might be misled. Now, I don't agree with any of this stuff, but at least you're willing to do that. Because there's a lot of people, they just want to go and gaslight the whole conversation, make stuff up, and of course we don't need any of that because that won't help us. That won't help us have conversations we need if we just gaslight all issues. And there's a lot of old men in our industry. I'm going to say old men. There's a couple old women, but for the most part, they're old men that have really gaslighted the threats of our industry. And it's because these old men are extremely insecure. They're extremely insecure of their place in the future. They'd rather have comfort soup with people than actually talk about anything of any relevance. And we need to change that. We need to start challenging these folks. But when you click on the Lexmark Governance, Lexmark is a privately held U.S.-based company acquired in 2016 by a consortium of investors led by 9-Star. When you read that, you're thinking to themselves, I guess a guy named Bob Smith owns this big company down there in Lexington, Kentucky called Lexmark. 9-Star is just an investor. I'm an investor in Amazon because I own 0.0000001% of the company. I bought some stock. Okay? 9-Star is not an investor in Lexmark. 9-Star owns Lexmark. They own over 65% of the equity in the company. Calling them an investor is a little bit nutty in my mind. And ladies and gentlemen, here's the bottom line. It doesn't matter about the governance. It doesn't matter about the frequently asked questions. What matters is this. When the governors across the United States of America decide that they're going to ban Chinese Communist Party-owned technology companies from doing business with government agencies, it's going to be detrimental to Lexmark. And the people that work in the free world at Lexmark are going to be in a position that they probably don't want to be in. And our industry needs to start talking about this. We need to have real conversations about this because the day's coming. Governor DeSantis down there in Florida just banned certain drones. Folks, it's going to come. The Communist Party flew a balloon over the United States and sent back data live. If that didn't slap you all in the face, what the hell will? Why can't we have conversations about this? Does Lexmark really believe that people believe that Nine Star's an investor? Yeah, they invested a whole lot of money and ended up getting all of your equity for the most part. I mean, it's almost absurd. But as long as Lexmark here in the free world can convince people that, oh yeah, don't worry about Nine Star. We have all these security features. We have all this governance. Our board's made up of all Americans and there's actually some old cabinet members on it. Folks, none of that matters. None of that matters when the government agencies aren't allowed to buy your equipment. None of it matters if China decides to do the unthinkable and go cause some aggravation with our friends in Taiwan. The world is in a different place than it was in 2016. And the world needs to wake up to this reality. There's a lot of really good people that work at these organizations, both in China, Chinese citizens as well as American citizens or citizens in European. The bottom line is, it's not about the people. You have a dictator, okay? A dictator that is getting a little bit more aggressive every day. A dictator that wants to be the leader of the world. And I'm not sure anybody in the free world wants Xi to be the leader of the world. I don't think that's a reality, regardless of what David Gibbons might think. I don't think that's a reality for anybody in the free world. And we need to start paying attention to these threats. We need to have conversations about them, and we don't need to be hiding behind a bunch of buzzwords or some kind of security clearance and this and that and that. Because here's the bottom line, folks. If Nine Star, the Chinese communist-owned company, owns all the equity or most of it in Lexmark, the money's going where? It's going to feed the Communist Chinese Party. Let me ask you a question that'll be so obnoxious that it might actually make people think, oh crap, I can't even believe he said that. How many bullets can you buy when we buy Lexmark, Phantom, and G&G printers? How many bullets can the Chinese Communist Party buy with the money we keep sending over there? With the money we keep sending them from the Lenovo products? How many bullets can the Chinese Communist Party's military buy? When you say it like that, it kind of like, wow. Maybe we should start thinking about this. Because I don't care how secure the products are. I really don't. They could be as secure as Fort Knox. But if the money's going back to support the Chinese Communist Party, maybe the free world needs to start thinking about how much they want to support the military of the Chinese Communist Party. Maybe the free world now should start thinking about the fact that do we really need to save $1 and buy something? Or should we pay a little bit more for our sovereignty? Because that dictator that's over there in China, he wants to run the world. And I got to be honest with you, that's not anything I'm excited about. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about another thing. I want to talk about our friends at the BTA a little bit. And I know there's going to be one or two lunatics out there that think I'm picking on the BTA. I'm not picking on the BTA, but this is a symbol of our industry. The BTA is the oldest organization in our industry. The BTA has done wonderful things for a lot of our friends in this industry. But ladies and gentlemen, are we this desperate that we're going to just align ourselves and take money from G&G printers? We all know that G&G is owned by Nine Star, the Communist Chinese Party. We also know that G&G, I haven't seen any press releases from them saying that they're not selling into the Russian marketplace. And I'm not going to make this about politics. I'm going to make it about sanctions the whole free world agreed on, except, of course, China. And here we are, the BTA organization, because we want sponsorships from everybody. We want to include everybody. We need to start asking some questions. Why in the world? The G&G printer folks and the Phantom folks are going to do everything they can to get into our space. They're all owned by 9-Star. Okay? And G&G's not running around saying 9-Star's an investor in them. Okay? They actually are owned by 9-Star. Go to the 9-Star website. Look at all the logos they own. Folks, we just got to pay attention to this. At the same time, we're promoting the G&G printer. We're promoting the things we do for our veterans, and I talked a little bit about this yesterday. And the stuff the BTA is doing for these veterans is honorable. It's above honorable. It's fantastic. We have got to support our veterans. Being a veteran myself, you can't imagine. This is very, very good. We need to continue to do things like this. But we can't have it both ways. We can't be out there promoting our veterans and at the same time dismissing the fact that we're promoting the Chinese Communist Party technologies and we're just doing it because we're desperate for money or what? We're not even having these conversations. And I challenge all you leather jacket vet-loving people to start having these conversations, especially the senior leaders in our industry. I get it. We have friends that work at Phantom now, friends that are out there schlepping G&G printers. We have friends that work at Lexmark. But we have to be honest as an industry, honest with ourselves, and we better get ready. Because there's going to be governors across the United States that are going to implement some pretty tough sanctions against Chinese technology companies. It's coming, folks. You better prepare yourself because it is definitely coming. I want to talk about this, and maybe this will make some sense to people, because it's usually if it's about the money, and people kind of, it's about the money, now I better pay attention. Every government office, every government agency, when they do a contract for 5 years on a lease, they have what's called a non-appropriations clause. Let's just go down to the state of Florida. Let's just say that Governor DeSantis bans all Chinese technology-owned companies, and he bans Lexmark from going into any of those offices. He bans Lenovo from going into any of those offices. And those agencies and offices have 5-year leases on that equipment. And maybe when he does the ban, they're only in the first year of a 5-year lease. How in the world does that agency or office appropriate money for the next year to do something illegal? I wanted to pause. Look, this is definitely going to be a test case. It's going to happen. I mean, how in the world? I mean, if I was on the city council and I was trying to approve an appropriations for the lease payments for the next year, I would have to ask the questions, how do we appropriate money for something that's illegal? Do all these leases go belly up? I mean, does Governor DeSantis say, I'm gonna ban Lexmark and Lenovo technologies in government offices because I think it's a threat? But don't worry about it. If you got 5 years left, we won't really make you get rid of them for another 5 years. If he deems it a threat, he does an executive order, I think he has to take action. Okay? I mean, threats, you don't wait 5 years. Threats, you take action now. This conversation around Lexmark, Phantom, static control, G&G needs to happen. Lenovo needs to happen. As an industry, we should be doing everything we can to protect the workers that work at these organizations that aren't part of the Communist Chinese Party. Because there's going to be a day that we're all going to be presented the opportunity. And that day, I believe, is coming soon. Just some things to think about, my friends, because we all know this. Status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo, and I'll see you all tomorrow.